Hey y'all, it's Katie. Welcome back to From My Vanity and welcome to my monthly Palette Palooza countdown. And we are going to be talking all about palettes, and I tried out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I should have done this already. I tried out 6 palettes this past month that I have tested thoroughly and I have my thoughts on, and I'm ready to share my reviews with you guys. Levi has been sleeping for a while, so he might wake up halfway through this, but he also could sleep all the way through this, so we'll just have to jump in and see. But yeah, I'm going to keep the intro very short and sweet. Let's just jump right into my countdown for the palettes that I tried out this past month. Per usual, I'm just doing this in a countdown form just to have fun. Don't take it too seriously. The ones that are on my bottom aren't because they are the worst palettes that I've ever tried, but I'm going to start with the one at the bottom and work my way all the way up to number 1 from this past month. Let me know if you can guess which palette I tried this past month that was my number 1. Usually in my thumbnail I have all of the palettes, so let me know if you can guess which one was my number 1. But anyway, for my number 6, now I do want to clarify this by saying that all the palettes that I tried this past month were pretty nice. Like, I didn't have any big duds, so it really came down to preferences and then just variety of what I could get from a palette when it came to ranking these. So for my number 6, I did have to give it to the Revolution Heartbreakers Lucky palette. Kind of hurts to put this as number 6 because it's not a terrible palette, but as I said, all the palettes this month were pretty good. There wasn't any that I was just like, oh my goodness, did not enjoy that, don't ever want to see it again. But the reason I put this at number 6 was mainly because of variety. When it comes to this palette, while I could get very pretty looks with it, I felt like it was quite limiting. I do have a video up with this palette compared to the Just My Look from Colourpop, so you can check that video out. I'll have it linked up here if you want to see a look I did with it. But the reason I felt like it was a little limiting is because this yellow and this mint weren't all that, I should say. They're very like pastel-ish. I mean, if you're looking for a pastel, sure, but they're very pastel and they take a whole lot of building to get it noticeable on my eyes, at least any way that I tried to use them. So for me personally, those were both, while they're cute and pretty and very pastel-ish, they were shades that I didn't really want to work with because I didn't want to spend the time trying to build it up to make it even look like it was doing anything on my eyes. Like, they're very, 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 very pale on my eyelids, even when I'm packing them on, trying to get them to show up. So for me personally, those two were kind of a dud in that sense. They're just too pale to really work for me. So that just left these two for mattes, or this one, no, that's a shimmer. These two for mattes, and then these shimmers, they're very pretty. These two were the most, like, impactful. I felt like these were very soft when it came to the shimmers. Like, it looked just, if you like a smooth look, you'll like it, but it was just very almost satinish. These really were the only ones that packed a punch and gave me that sparkle that I like, or that shine that I like on my eyelids. So for those reasons, that's kind of why I put this on the bottom of the kind of countdown this month, just because of the variety. I felt like I was very limited, and like I said, with those two pastels just being so pale, it kind of hindered what I could create with this palette. Now, I always make sure I include in these videos the looks that I created, so hopefully you'll be able to see. I could get some variety, and I'm not saying that you couldn't, and I'm not saying that all the looks were the same, but when I had to create looks with this palette, I just felt like it was a little hard to get creative and do different types of looks that weren't too repetitive with such light tones to work with. I'll say that, you know, wear time was very nice on these. They didn't wear down. They didn't crease on me, and they didn't do too much traveling, like the shimmers traveling up into my crease, which I really like. But that really was about it when it came to pros for this palette. I just wasn't a fan of the color story and the color choices that I had to work with in my crease for my mattes. Okay, so for number 5, I chose NettyBird's Sibling Rivalry palette. This is the green palette that I got from NettyBird Cosmetics. I do have a look, like I did record 3 looks, 1 palette with this, and also the orange palette. I don't know if I'm going to upload them. Please let me know if you'd like to see them. I feel like if I give my review here, it kind of might be enough, but if you are someone who really wants to see the looks, wants to see these shadows in action and how they kind of pack on and blend out and how they look, creating looks with them, let me know that. And I was actually thinking of doing just both of them together, one video, just because I don't know if it'll be worth it, because tutorials take a lot of work for me to put together. They take a long time of, you know, cropping it all together, making it flow, and then doing the voiceover, and then making sure it all syncs. It takes me a long time to edit. So I want to make sure if I'm going to put all that work that at least there's interest out there. So I might just put both of these into the same tutorial and do 6 looks from 2 palettes from 1 brand or something like that. Let me know if you'd like to see that. But for now, we're just going to talk about the palette because at this point, I'm not sure if I'm going to be reviewing them or doing a tutorial, you know, slash review. Anyway, my favorite aspect of this palette was this yellow. But the kind of bummer when it comes to the palette in general, this palette in general, is that all of these shimmers aren't shimmers. They're very satin. There is no shimmer in here that when you apply it, it looks shimmery or metallic, definitely not metallic, but there's no, oh, was that even in frame? I'm sorry. There aren't any shimmers that look super shimmery. They all have a very satin feel to it, even this one. So, you know, if you're someone who likes to work with satins in the crease, you might be happy about that. But for me, I did try to use this yellow in my crease. I don't like how it looks when it's satiny and kind of has that shimmer to it. It just doesn't look right in my crease. And then when I tried to blend other mattes into it, it just doesn't blend as nicely for me personally. So I don't like using satins in my crease. And so when you think about that, okay, which ones are mattes? This is a matte, this is a matte, this is a matte, and this is a matte, and that's it. And that's the biggest reason why this one is number 5 and the orange palette is higher, because I thought it'd be the other way around. But this green palette, while there's a lot of beautiful shades in here, it's very limiting when it comes to actual matte shades you can use, because there's so many shimmers, and not even shimmers, satins, let's just call them satins. The satins are pretty and they do last nicely on the lid. All of these, the looks that I did using this palette lasted very nicely on my face. I didn't notice any wearing, any creasing, anything like that, but it just overall had a very soft effect. And the day I used this, I did like a halo eye with this in the center and then, you know, matte greens around it. The day I did that, it looked like an all matte look. Like, that's how soft these satiny shades are. They're just so soft. They could almost be mistaken as a matte. And if that's something you like, that's great. But for me, I like either my mattes or my metallics. I'm not into the satin. Talking about the glitters in here, there are 3, which I wasn't aware of for some reason when I saw it online before I bought it. I thought there was only 2, but this one is a glitter, as are these 2. They're actually really nice glitters. I'm not someone who loves glitter, but I'll play in it every now and then. And they're really nice, especially after having tried the Colourpop ones, like the glitters in the Colourpop monochromatic palettes. I didn't like those at all. They were so dry and flaky. Even with glitter glue, they were terrible. They creased, they flaked, they, you know, got all over my face. These, however, were really nice. They have some type of bonder in them. Like, they're very dimethicone. They hold their, you know, they hold together nice. They're not so dry like the Colourpop ones. They swatch nice. And then on the eyes, I always use a glitter glue, but on the eyes, they actually hold up really well. They look very pretty, and it's very minimal on the fallout when it comes to these glitters. So overall, I was very impressed with the glitters. They're also a very fine type of glitter. They're nothing chunky, so I felt a lot more safe and comfortable using these on my eyelids than like the Colourpop ones. So overall, yeah, I was very surprised because I thought I would just be like, oh, I tried the glitters, they're fine, whatever. But I was actually pleasantly surprised with how the glitters performed and how they looked on my eyes and how they, you know, just how they were to work with. They were very easy, very pigmented, and they glided onto the lid very nicely. And as I said, with glitter glue, I thought they stayed really nice. But overall, like, I can't fault the mattes in here, like the quality of the mattes. I thought they were very nice. They're very pigmented. They're very smooth. They build up nicely. They're nothing like super intense, but they're very nice. Like, they build up very beautifully. They show up well. They last nicely on the eyes. The only really big drawback for me was that there wasn't enough variety in the matte, especially when you consider, like, they have these more brownie type greens and then they have this blue, and I was like, oh, that'd be so fun to like get some different looks with it. But when you look at the mattes, it's kind of limiting because you can really only, if you're just wanting to use the mattes like me, you can only get a green crease and then these shades, you know, on the lid, which can be a little different, but they're not that different. So I felt like all my looks kind of all look the same, and I couldn't get as much variety. Like with these shades, I was really hoping for more of like a brown greeny look, and then with this, I was hoping for more of like a blue greeny look. But with these mattes, they still kind of stuck to the same shade of blue. I hope this is making sense. While I appreciate that they had these different colors down there, I really wish they would have taken at least 2 of these out and put more different types of green in here, because, I don't know, I just felt like you could have had one or the other when it comes to these. I mean, the glitter obviously is very different, but I just felt like it didn't really go with anything in this palette, and like the others are just so soft. I don't even know if you can see me when I swatch them because they're so soft. So I felt like if they had taken those out and put more of like a brownie green or even a bluey type of green, it could have harmonized this palette a little bit more and helped you get more variety. So for those reasons, that's why I'm putting it at number 5. Overall, not a total dud, but it was a nice palette. It wasn't anything that blew my mind. I really wish the shimmers were more shimmery instead of satiny, and there was more variety. Okay, next up is NettyBird's Vitamin C palette, this coming in at number 4. I was surprised that this actually beat out the green because I thought I would like the green more than this one because there are a lot of very neutral brown tones in here, but I was actually able to get more variety when it came to this palette than the green one. The reason being that there's a lot more mattes in here than with the green one. When it comes to mattes, I have this yellow here, this brown. This is like a matte with like glitter in it, but the glitter never really shows up, so it definitely was more of a matte orange. This like brownie orangey matte, I had this red and this red when it came to matte, and then this brown. The only thing I couldn't get with this palette was a lot of depth because this is the darkest color. But besides that, like I, kind of just said, there is variety. You have orange, you have red, you have yellow, you have brown to get different types of colors. So I felt like my, inspiration and the types of looks that I could get was a lot more broad, I guess you could say, than with the NettyBird Sibling Rivalry palette. So honestly, that's the biggest reason that this won out over the green. Also too, there's only 2 glitters, which I do like that there isn't too much glitters and that the glitters are very different, very pretty. They're same as the green ones. They perform beautifully. I had no issues with them. I thought they were a very nice glitter when it comes to glitters. The yellow in here isn't the most pigmented yellow, but it definitely does something. And when you pack it on there, you can definitely see it. I'm getting a little bit of green because I'm a mess right now. But anyway, you can see it. And in my looks, I thought it was really pretty. I did a look one day with yellow and red in the outer corner and like yellow on my lid. And it was a very pretty look. I thought it turned out really nice. And I like that you could get a very yellow and red look from an orange palette. You wouldn't exactly think that. So that's why I felt like variety-wise, there was a lot more in here than with the green one. Quality-wise, when we're talking about the shadows of the mattes and the shimmers or the satins, they're the same as the Sibling Rivalry one, so no difference there. But there was just something about the different type of looks that I could get with this palette that I liked more. And yeah, overall, it's a very nice palette. I don't really have much to add to it that I haven't already said with the green one. They were very similar in the way they perform, in the longevity of the shadows, in the intensity of the shadows. This red one was really pretty. Yeah, it's like an orangey red, that one. Ooh, so pretty. So yeah, they're very nice shadows. Nothing outstanding. I'll definitely be curious to see more. I was told after I purchased these that they are a private label, like you can get them cheaper on Amazon. Now, I don't know if they'll be exactly the same, but just looking at them on Amazon, they look the same, so there kind of isn't anything crazy unique with getting them from NettyBird, but I am very excited for NettyBird. I like, kind of their aesthetic and what they're going for with their brand, and I'll be excited to see what they do in the future. I'm really hoping that they continue to, do well and be able to branch out and maybe start to do more unique things with their palettes. I can't say that I'll, definitely buy another palette from NettyBird, but I'm definitely going to keep my eye on them and see if they come out with something else that really piques my interest in the way of their palettes, and then hopefully maybe they can continue to improve. But, if it continues to be more of the satiny stuff, I don't think I'll buy it. For me personally, I either want matte or I want it to sparkle. So yeah, anyway, that's going to come in at number 4 for this past month. It's a nice palette. Didn't blow me away, but it's nice. Okay, coming in at number 3. This is really hard. 3, 2, and 1. Always is so very hard. But I had to give it to the Warrior 3 by Juvia's Place. This is a really nice palette. I kind of wanted to put it higher, but the other 2 were just so nice that I had to put them higher. Anyway, this palette I put in at number 3. Mainly, the biggest reason is because of the color selection. Now, this palette is really nice. I like how many mattes they have in here, but when it comes to shimmers, I felt like it was a little limiting in only having these 2 shades. Now, they are different. One's blue and one's silver, but I wish they would have put more of a warm tone shimmer and then a cool tone shimmer so that you could kind of use it, especially when it came to these 3 colors. I didn't really feel like either one of those went with it if I was going for more of a warm eye look. All right, my camera battery died and little Levi woke up, so let me get him situated and we can continue. All right, so I have zoomed you in a little bit closer for modesty's sake, just so nothing happens. But yeah, I feel like I just wish there was a different type of shimmer. Now, both of the shimmers are pretty, but like I said, I wish they had, if they're only going for 2, I wish they had one warm tone and one cool tone, just to give this palette the potential that you could. Now, as a companion palette, I feel like this is just perfect because there is just so much color that you could grab 1 or 2 shades and add it to another palette and get beautiful looks. And that's kind of what I did several times. I can't remember how many looks, but I paired this palette with the Kristen Lee Cosmetics Glimmer Gels that she sent me. And that was a really great way to be able to use this palette, try out all the different shades, but then still also get very shimmery eye looks with the lid color because I could reach for her more warm tone type of glimmer gels, and they paired really beautifully with this. I have 2 looks, I think, on my Instagram using this palette and Kristen Lee Cosmetics Glimmer Gels. I'll leave them linked down below. One was with the blue, but then the other one was with, I think, the orange and yellow. I can't remember exactly, but I'll have them linked down below if you want to check them out. But overall, the quality of these is really nice. I wish I could swatch it for you, but one arm is not able to use. The purple was okay. I felt like there was 1 or 2 times I was using the purple and it was wanting to patch up a little bit, but I was able to kind of smooth it out and it was fine. It didn't do what the violets did, like Juvia's Place of Violets mini palette. It didn't do that to me, but it just was once or twice it was like, oh no, are you gonna go south? But it didn't, so I was very happy. Overall, it's kind of the typical quality you would expect when it comes to Juvia's Place. Very happy with it. They blended beautifully. They're very pigmented. They're very easy to, get the color. The yellow was a little, not hard, but it just took a little bit of work to build up because it is, you know, close to my skin tone, I feel like. So it took a little bit of work, but overall, very happy with this. I thought it was very beautiful, and it's another palette I can add to my collection. Is it a favorite out of all? I mean, it definitely doesn't take the Tribe by Juvia's Place, that place. But overall, it is a really good one. I love the different colors or the different looks I could get out of it. I like the combination of cool and warm when it comes to the mattes in here. That was really fun to have both of them in here. Getting both warm looks or a cool look or combining the two, that was a lot of fun. And overall, yeah, it's just very inspiring, and I'm glad to have it in my collection. I'm glad I was finally able to try it. This has been out for so long. It's been sitting in my collection for so long, but it's taking me this long to try it. It's a good one. I mean, what can I say? Juvia's Place really does a great job with giving you very interesting color stories, and I just always like the looks that I get out of it. I feel like it pushes me to get really creative with my looks, and I love that. Okay, so for number 2, I gave it to Menagerie Cosmetics Pastel Palette, and the biggest reason is because I'm someone who I feel like I'm not super into pastels, but I love playing with these pastels. And I think the biggest reason why is because I like having that black to really smoke out the outer corner. And I feel like that way, that's my favorite way to use pastels. Put black in the outer corner and then put a bunch of pastels on my crease and on my lid. And I felt like I was still very comfortable while having more pastels and lighter colors. Because I'm not that type of girl that likes just like a wash of color. Like I tried that a couple days, and I mean, you guys can see the pictures here. I did that a couple days trying to get a very light wash of color, keep everything really bright, not go too deep. But it's not that it was bad or it looked bad or anything, but it just didn't seem, it wasn't my comfort zone. I'll just put it that way. It definitely took me outside my comfort zone. So the fact that this palette has that black in there, I feel like it can create a lot of fun pastel looks that I will enjoy. I do have a 3 looks 1 palette already up on my channel with this palette, as well as eye swatches. I'll have them both linked down below in my description box if you want to see. My favorite by far were the green and blues in this palette. Are you guys surprised at all? The greens are just so beautiful, and the blue is really nice as well, as is this like more purpley toned. I did a look with like these 3 one day. Can I not gouge my nail into them? And I thought it was a lot of fun. But yeah, the greens in here are just so pretty, like so intense and so pigmented. No problems at all with building it up. No problems at all with, you know, getting it to blend into other shades. I was very happy with it. If you did see my 3 looks 1 palette, I go in more in depth on kind of my pros and cons with the palette. So definitely check that video out if you want more information. Fishy was definitely the dud when it comes to the mattes, and I wasn't crazy about Snowball. It just creases too much on me. You know, her formula does that. It's beautiful. It looks so pretty, but it just kind of creases and flakes, and it's too chunky for my liking. But other than that, everything about this palette is really pretty. All of the shades are very pigmented, and they still, even if you like pack it on and really get it intense, I feel like it still gives you that pastel look, so it's very beautiful in that aspect. So yeah, overall, I'm very happy with this new addition to the Menagerie Cosmetics family. I absolutely love the outer packaging, and the whole seal of approval is adorable. Like I said, I've already done 2 videos on it, so if you want more information, you can definitely check out those videos, but overall, it landed very comfortably as my 2nd favorite from this month. Okay, last but not least, you guys, this should not come as a surprise, but number 1 from this past month, September Rose Cosmetics Slush Palette. I have had so much fun using this palette. How many looks have I done? 3, 4, 5? I have a 3 looks 1 palette, so if you see any of these looks that you are interested in, 3 of those looks are in the 3 looks 1 palette. I also use this palette in my If I Could Only Keep 10 products for the rest of my life palette, and that another one of those looks is in there if you want to see. And then today's look I didn't film. So sorry, but I'm wearing it in today's look. So I think I only did about 5. Maybe I did another day where I didn't film or anything like that, but that's neither here nor there. This is such a fun and beautiful palette. I featured it in my If I Could Only Keep 10 products for the rest of my life, because I said like I could have this and I could have the rainbow. I could create so many fun colors in here, and really the only thing this palette doesn't have is a black. And then I also featured this If I Could Only Keep 10 palettes for the rest of my life, because this gives me so many options. I feel like this, you know, having this 1 palette really does complete a lot of like need when it comes to different colors, and kind of is a one-stop shop, right? Yeah, 1 and done. There's just so much about this palette that I think is fantastic. I think for having so many colors in here, something that I was very surprised of is that I never once had any issues blending. Like there wasn't a single shade that I found to be patchy. There wasn't a single shade that I found to like kind of flake off or get weird, especially these darker purple tones. No issues there. They all blended beautifully. They all built up nicely. Some of them were a little lighter in tone than the others, but they built up and they blended out very nicely. And the shimmers also were beautiful. I guess I will say if there was a dud, it would have to be coconut milk just because it's such a kind of boring. It's definitely a satiny shade. It works as the inner corner highlight, but even with the inner corner highlight, it just almost looks like a matte white. Like it's that tone. It's that satiny of a tone. It's not even shimmer. So for me personally, that would be the only dud. But besides that, the shimmers in here are absolutely stunning. This is the only flaky kind of shimmer that is in here, which I like because I don't like flaky. So everything else was very smooth to put on. I have this blue shade right here on my lids today. So easy to work with. It just glides right on. It's not anything metallic. I'll definitely say that when it comes to their shimmer formula. They are definitely very true shimmer. It's not that intense metallic like some Juvia's Place can be, and even like Give Me Glow, they're just so metallic-y. It's definitely just a very pretty shimmery shade, and I don't mind that. I find that they last a lot better on my eyes. They don't travel up into my crease, which I don't like. That's just a personal preference when it comes to a palette. If it can stay where I put it for a whole day, it kind of gets a little extra brownie point in my eyes just because I like that. I like for my eye looks to stay where I put them. But yeah, it's just a stunning, stunning palette, and they did so well with it. This makes me want to try more from September Rose Cosmetics. I do have a code with them. It's not an affiliate. I'll have it linked down below. But when I went and bought this, I was looking at their frequently asked questions, I think, to see how long it would take to ship or whatever. And they said something about codes. And so I read it and they said if you reach out to them, they'll give you a code. It's not affiliate or anything, but you can give it to, you know, whoever you want. So I have a code for 10% off, I think. If you don't have another code out there that's for more % off, or, you know, your favorite YouTuber, you can use mine if you want. Nothing comes to me, but it'll save you 10%. I bought this, I want to say, when it was like 40% off, so definitely wait for a sale. Yeah, if you want to hear me get into the nitty-gritty with the different shadows and, you know, how they perform and how they wear and how they, you know, the colors combine together, definitely check out my 3 Looks 1 Palette video. I go into it a lot more there, but for the sake of this video, this is a gorgeous palette. This is definitely a favorite of mine. I had so much fun with it, and when I had to, you know, lay out all these palettes and decide which one goes where, this one was so easy. I knew exactly where this one went, and it was the easiest one for me to rank when I was ranking these. This was the easiest one because I knew it was number 1. It's my favorite. Okay, so there you have it. Those are all the palettes that I tried for this past month. I tried out 6 palettes, which seems like a lot. I was surprised I tried that many out this past month, but I didn't get sick this past month. I didn't have any days off where I didn't wear makeup, so I was able to try 6 of them out, and I had a lot of fun. Like I said, no palette from this past month was a total dud that I just don't think is good quality at all and that you should avoid. Each of these palettes have their pros and cons, even down to the number 6. It's a nice palette. It's like $7, and if you like these shades, if you don't mind more pastel-y tones, I think you would really enjoy this. But for me personally, and my preferences, that's why I put it at number 6. So anyway, I was really happy to see that there wasn't a absolute total dud from this past month that I thought was just awful. So that's always nice to see. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys found it helpful above all. If you guys were looking at any of these palettes and curious to, try one out someday, or curious to hear my thoughts on it, I hope you found these reviews helpful. Yeah, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you don't mind seeing the little guy for a little bit. He just woke up. He had a rough morning, and he slept a long time, so I was surprised he slept as long as he did just now. But anyway, I hope you guys found this informative as always, or just entertaining, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up as you leave, as it helps me in the whole YouTube algorithm. I do have a giveaway going on right now. I'll leave it linked up here if you want to enter. There are 2 winners for YouTube, and I'll leave linked down below in the description box a link to my Instagram page where I'm also giving away a box of makeup. So 3 different ways to win a box of makeup from me if you want to. So anyway, yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. I guess I can hold him up because you can only see the top of his head. He is 4 months old. Can you believe it? But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, I will see you very soon in my next video.